Okay. Good afternoon. Okay. Oops. Good afternoon. There's some echo there. So I checked that I haven't streamed for like 2 months. I haven't had like any plan to keep such a long break, but these things happen. I want to stream from a very different topic now compared to the previous ones. I think I kind of I want to try to make this kind of some kind of maybe you could best describe it as some kind of link collection on Russia's economy. Um, and I got this kind of motivation to do this because like lately I've been looking at a lot of like the numbers on the Russian economy, and yeah, trying to like find like what are the good sources and what are the relevant numbers for it, and yeah, I want to kind of like bring that and bring that like to myself like as some kind of like reference, so I don't have to like remember everything again after a while. And I also want to yeah maybe also want to for others to use. And also I'm kind of like motivated by I think there's some good progress there lately, like bad for Russia, but of course like good for the Ukraine and the world in general. So yeah, it's also like it's very like tricky to also understand like what's if you're thinking about like for example like Russia ending its war, like what would be bad enough for them, like an outcome for them to do that. And of course it's not like just like a economy thing, but it's like one side of the coin. And of course like in the very end, if Russia cannot fund its war, so that would be some kind of end game. And I think we get to that with this maybe this like debt servicing costs. So if a lot of your budget is devoted to paying the interest on your government debt, then you have less money to use for the war. Like Russian right now, I don't remember. Is it something like 40% of budget going to the war? And then there's this like this increase going on in debt servicing cost to approach like 9% of budget. And yeah, it could get larger there. And but yeah, I'm not sure if it has an effect, but I'm not really sure how big. And how big we are going, like how much over this like a projected 9% we are going. But there's some possibility of some kind of accumulation of these deficits. So you have to, I don't know, yeah. But we'll get to that a bit later. I'm not really actually sure where I want to start with this. I'm gonna try to look up like some links that I've been Going through let's see. I found with Claude I found pretty like nice source for some stuff. So I'm gonna go and look again for that one. Just like, oh, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, it's let's go somewhere here. I don't think that's actually the right. Yeah, it's these ones over here. These I'm not sure if it's this one either. Let's see. Yeah, this is not the correct one either. Let's see. They have some. No. Oh, come on. Let's see if it's this one. Oh, okay, I think it's this one, yeah. This chart book thing, yeah. But there was also some link like where they're here, but there was some I'm like looking for a direct link before I start. Russia chart book. No, it's just the latest. There was some nice link where they had all of these. Let's see if it's like KSE. I think I didn't. I'm just like wondering if is it just am I just bad at finding it, or should they have a little bit better page? There's no link here. Huh. Okay, for now I'm just gonna link this. The link doesn't even work. But that's probably because of the positron rather. They probably have like okay. That's kind of annoying. Chart book. Good, like extensive. And you could emphasize it's kind of like monthly overview. And that's why I want to find the. I just want to find the link where they have all of these. All of these in one place. Because I want to link to that. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know what this is. Yeah, and I wonder like this source. It's like Kiev School of Economics. There's like a lot of reasons to assume that it's biased to a lot of extent. Like they could like because they and it's like very human if they would be biased, but it's but I also think like a lot of these numbers that they have like they don't really leave a lot of room maybe for bias because it is like numbers and it is statistics. So of course there can be like some kind of like selection on like which statistics to show, but like if these statistics are showing trends, then it's not such a big of an issue. It's kind of interesting about this. Like I've been interested in this oil prices also lately, so that they have like these oil prices are a bit different from the ones on like some. Let's see. I'm gonna show what I've been looking at mostly. This I need to have that there. Like if you go to these sites that track stocks and stuff, they usually show like this kind of a value. But this is supposed to be like this. What I understand, especially from my discussion with Claude, that it's a monthly value and it should be like signify like what values is Russia using for like tax purposes on the oil. So these are lower. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's some cases like where this takes into account those sanctions and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know what else, but this could be a bit more realistic. And here they have like the oil exports earnings, and yeah, it's this like this thing that I expect to go down quite a bit, like they don't have the oil prices here for June. It's gonna be like another month until their next report. I think I could find it faster somewhere, but this I think it signifies the even if the price is a bit wrong here, or a bit like inflated or stuff like that, it signifies the direction. Like if there was the May average on the Russian oil here, then it's gone down quite a bit, like not like half or something, but yeah, it's the average on June is gonna be a lot lower. Yeah. So I'm kind of like thinking like, do I want to? I think I could like copy a lot of these. I think it seems quite fair to me to use these, like if I want to have these. So let's see how this works. So okay, I have the oil stuff here, so I could do something like this. And this is government. This is no, like this is now this is not like government revenues now. It's like oil revenues in general, but it's gonna translate. I'm kind of like annoyed that this it's not a bigger, yeah, but it's gonna turn into then like government revenues. Let's see here. I wonder if there was, yeah, okay. Here basically federal oil and gas revenues. So these take like those taxes into account, and then there's also like some this like bright blue bar that's supposed to signify some kind of like some kind of support on, I understood, like some kind of support on domestic this reimbursement, some kind of like support here on the, like domestic like gasoline prices or something like that. I'm not really sure what it is, but I suppose that, yeah, so these numbers are from the Ministry of Finance of Russia. So or at least like some basis of these numbers. So this plan based on average within year distribution. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if you should pay too much. So this is from the budget plan, and the total revenues are below the budget plan. I was a little bit surprised that this way around, that like it's still the oil revenues that are more important, like on this, that we are on, not maybe on track to reach reach the budgeted revenue, even if the prices have been like I would say that the prices in the first 5 months have been higher than they were budgeted, but there's of course like all kinds of like sanctions and like there's like those strikes on like oil refineries and stuff like that, and strong ruble and some stuff that has made it smaller. Yeah. So yeah, but this is still like a little bit like Russia is quite a lot like behind on their like like planned budget, but I'm not sure like if this is because like uh, I kind of think that like this should be maybe higher, or this should be like I think I read somewhere that it's worse in the beginning of the year like this. There's some upfront cost and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not sure. Um, um, um. So there could be the there could be like some kind of like who loans to Russia kind of thing here. I'm not sure about the like the structure of anything in general, but can I? Yeah, I'm wondering if in here I could have some kind of yeah, here like there's no way to add like numbering for the titles, like this kind of thing. Like I don't know, it's kind of annoying. But I'm trying to use this Positon as a how would you say, as a text editor, yeah. But I'm not. I mean, I'm not still like sure if it's good for that. So I'm probably gonna go. Probably gonna be a bit all over the place. I feel here. So let's actually look at I'm gonna look at I want to look at this. Okay. Let's see where we're gonna find it. So here's the stock market, but there was yeah, it's yeah, this is pretty interesting to me, like that there's been such a big jump on the on interest on the or the yield on the Russian bonds, like in like past week or so, past few weeks. I wonder if there's would it be okay to, maybe it's okay because if I post it with a link. I feel a little bit iffy about this, but it should also, I think it would be like good to have at least yeah, I think like the 10-year view is good here. It's good to get some sense of scale. Is there actually there's you can export data. I don't think you can export data without chart types. Yeah, there you can have a, let's see what kind of image does it produce. Okay, it has a, I'm gonna use this image actually. Yeah, because now it has this source written here. One thing that I'm a little bit skeptical about, like doing this kind of thing when I have where I have, if I take graphs that are updated currently or like all the time, like do I feel that I would have to update them inside the text as well all the time? Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe it's a bit tricky to think about this. Like also with my discussion with Claude, it kind of like indicated this, that like how harmful are these high bond yields. It's a I think at least because if there's a country with high inflation, that kind of it kind of helps to eradicate it kind of like lowers the relative payments or like relative severity of the debt. Yeah. So what's here? Yeah, okay, here's some like normal. Yeah, also interesting to see the like levels of. So I think this is also interesting. Like I wonder how much you can read into this, but to what extent is this yield like some indicator of like it is to some extent like indicator that how likely do the markets think that Russia cannot pay its debts in the future, and because they want a high price for accepting that risk. So I made this kind of picture that shows the I wonder how it's a little bit small, and I don't like the coloring here, but this basically shows the central bank interest rate, and then on blue, and then the bond yield on these 10-year bonds. And yeah, it's some kind of, based on also my chat with Claude, it's some kind of like because these are like heavily correlated, so it's like this 10-year rate is some kind of, a lot of it is kind of like expectation on how this key rate, the central park interest or key rate is gonna develop in the future, and to some extent like related to that, like what's the inflation gonna be in the future, and also then the government risk of not being able to pay. Yeah, and it's and here it might be that like the 10-year bond rate has been above the central park rate, also because, at least to some extent, like that there's an expectation of the central park rate going up, which happened. So, and here maybe also because it started to go low first, so because also this kind of plateau started and the inflation was going down, so they kind of like expected it to go down, but now it's kind of like it should might be going down, but there's maybe some new inflationary pressure lately going on, and then I kind of like also like wonder like how much of this is some kind of fear of like Russian basically system collapsing, and it's, if you look at like the 20-year yield, I think like this is most kind of like robust against these short term kind of like risks, or like short term kind of like this interest rate fluctuation and inflation fluctuation, so they don't really weigh in so much on this one. So this is could be like a good indicator on some kind of like a default risk of the economy. I wonder if you could construct like if you have like a shorter contract and you look at those differences, because this is so much about like those short-term expectations. So could you basically, if you kind of like have this, and then you reduce this some kind of like short-term indicator from it? Could you like gauge, like, I don't know, could the remainder be some kind of indicator of this short-term harm, or like not the short-term, but like the of the kind of like long-term risks, or and like specifically this kind of like risks that Russia is not able to pay. Yeah. Like 1 year. And right now, like Russian, I understood that like this is kind of like the main kind of like yield, or like this is like the most what they are like most commonly used. Yeah, so let's look at this a bit more. Yeah, so this is quite a like essential here, like for this short-term progress. I wonder, like, how should I build this? Because I could also like have first some kind of like current situation, like until 2025, and then have these indicators on like what's been going on lately. But yeah, I'm not sure, like or I could start with like, I don't know, but these are also like it's kind of like maybe difficult to distinguish between those like short and long term, like where do you draw the line, and yeah. Yeah, but this is like I think this is like a nice chart. So yeah, I think I could have like both of these in there. Like this. Like this should definitely be there. I could also like, I don't really like, I wouldn't really want to use someone else's graphs. I would want to make this myself, but there's like maybe like two issues there. Like first being that it's gonna take quite a while to do this like from the scratch, and the second thing is, especially because I'm not sure where all of this data, like where can I find it? Like Ministry of Finance is too vague, and some of it, even if it's on the ministry sites, like could be only in Russian or something like that. So it would be quite a bit of work to find all of that stuff, and especially because if it's the kind of data that they sorry, yeah, if they can like update that, like, or like produce like new data sets so that I cannot machine read those new data sets in, but I would have to always like pick them up separately. Like that's also quite a bit of hassle. Yeah, I'm not sure about this one if I want, like they have some kind of estimate on how the oil price is gonna progress. I think it could be quite valid that they're using. I think what they're using is yeah, here like based on market expectations for Brent and assumption of stable discounts. So yeah, because they're like Urals, is it Urals? Urals price is based on this like maybe it's gonna like from the ministry. Okay, this is International Energy Agency, so I'm not actually quite sure, but like it's yeah, it's something that they don't have like the futures or like but for Brent there are these like know if there's a good way to find from here that, but you can like have this probably like for oil that is delivered in August, but there's like different charts that are very close to this one but are from for different months, so there are these oil futures, so these Brent values are taken from those, and then like using the assumption like how much has the difference between has been before between Brent and Urals to then calculate the values for Urals in the future, something like that. Yeah, this might already be a bit high, these values, so that's because I think yeah we're standing now at 72.5. Of course there's some like I think they're generally a bit higher. Okay, but these are lower now in the future, but whatever, yeah. But it might be that you could take like €5 away from these. Um, yeah, I'm gonna look at some. Yeah, let's see. There's also like there's also interesting organization, this Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air. They have like some very nice like they focus on these oil and gas revenues on this um, they also have like their own estimate on the on Russian oil. Let's see if I can find it. Might be here. Yeah, it's over here, and it's kind of like interesting one. Because it's kind of like saying that kind of like the relevant price is now already like lower. I think the difference is might be I think it's related at least in parts to like, whereas in here they're like trying to track the kind of like the value that is taxed per like barrel, but this is kind of like the value for what the kind of like, I think it's somehow like what the buyer is paying, or somehow it that those like maybe that goes costs that come from like having like these shadow tankers and stuff like that, and maybe having those. Yeah, I'm not sure like where do the at what point do the sanctions come in, like are they already like in these prices? But this just like it's like so low here. I'm not sure. But this, I think this indicates, whereas this indicates more of like a indicator on the like tax revenue, then this is more of an indicator of what the companies are pulling in from their sales. That's of course also gonna affect the Russian economy as a whole, and also like through some proxy the government revenues, tax revenues, and stuff like that. Okay, so I could have like a different section on these oil price indicators. But this could also be structured through this could be should be a other way around actually. So we have first the oil price indicators, and then we have revenues. So this is about the sanctions and how the oil is shipped. So like what's the, they also have this evaluation on so I think this is interesting, like that they're trying to, I wonder if these should actually measure the same things. So would this be like something to compare? It's a bit, this makes it a bit harder that these are in euros and these are in dollars, because then those exchange rate differences will matter. I can download this data actually, or they have it. They have some kind of like separate site here, and so that's kind of like nice that their estimates are like both for these like tons and then the actual value, they are both they're both like machine readable from here. I'm just trying to like, it's a bit annoying here that like it's like those small changes are gonna yeah, it doesn't really. And the one thing about this that you have to think is that those like reductions in oil price that are happening now, they might have some kind of delayed effect on these revenues. If like some of these, like for example, for like first of all, it's a 14-day running average, so those older days will wait in there as well. And the other thing is that these like some of these deliveries, the like I'm not really sure like how the oil markets work in it. Like when has the payment to the government gone through on some oil shipment that happens now? Like how many days or weeks before, or not for the government but for whatever the oil company, like when has that happened? So if there's like a big delay between like payments and shipments, then yeah, then it kind of like these might still be like that are happening now, like May or April prices and stuff like that. So I think they're trying to take that into account somehow, so they don't just like multiply the current like shipments with current prices, but they try to somehow like evaluate like what's the what's that kind of like effect. But yeah, I would imagine that's quite hard, and they also haven't like, it could be a little bit more transparent like what they are actually doing, like how are these estimates built that they have. So I'm just gonna have like maybe have like even more level here, or I wonder if I should have also like a specific different section for oil. Yeah, I'm not sure. State. Russia's. Yeah, I'm gonna do that kind of thing here. So Russia's means of financing. So I'm gonna go back because they had like a nice. Okay, it's here. It's this one. Over here, because this is like a very nice picture. So I wonder if I should build this by. So this is heading 4. This could be heading 3. So I'm thinking about having first, because it's like a biggest, even if it hasn't been like biggest during this year, but you can see from the trends and stuff like that, it's gonna be the biggest. I don't wanna look, how is that? Yeah, okay. So then we could go. So these are basically like loans. Maybe also like citizens. Could be also like, I could call this like Russian private sector or something like. I just wonder, like, I would so much want to have. Okay, let's see. Yeah, there's some kind of way to do this numbered titles, but I would have to like download some stuff or stuff like that. So I'm not gonna do it now, at least. So they should also be maybe okay. This kind of thing could also be, I don't know, yeah, maybe it fits here. I wonder if this depth servicing cost should it be yeah, it is about domestic debt. Okay, yeah, this could be something to add there. I'm just like copying everything that they have, but let's see. Yeah, I wonder here, it might be that those liquids that some of them are can check something out. Yeah, some of them. Yeah, maybe I want to like. Yeah, this probably like includes. This is not just like the non-liquids in here, but this right-hand side, it also includes the. Come on, is it showing up here? No. The right-hand side also includes the liquid assets. But it's interesting also about this national wealth fund that it has in. Okay, yeah, this also like nice that they have this both in rubles and in dollars. But generally, like it has remain pretty much the same size. But yeah, it could be like interesting to add. They have in the let's see. they have it. You could somehow you could find. Okay. Okay, yeah, this one. Like relative to GDP, it has gone down. Maybe it's like the 5-year. Maybe the 10-year images. And this has to do a lot with like GDP growth, but I think it also signifies like how much like that there's less and less of. Well, it hasn't decreased actually so much lately, but that's also due to like GDP growth being slower. But yeah, maybe my point that there is this like slight decreasing trend compared to here where it's like even. So where was it? So it kind of means that there's maybe less. There's like you can basically save a smaller portion of the. Ooh, there's this kind of embed option. Let's see how this works. Or does it require a. I wonder how this works. So let's see. So it doesn't work. But it might be that, okay, I'm gonna click the preview. Let's see what it does. It might be that it has to be like the site has to be. I'm not quite sure how the preview works. It might be that the site has to be kind of like on. I'm just gonna add it here now also. So you can make it smaller here. That's nice. I'll make this a bit smaller. Some kind of this embedding doesn't work, so I'm gonna. Yeah, but if I manage to get this embedding to work, then that would be pretty cool. If it meant that they would be kind of like auto updated. But maybe the thing with those embeds is that it would show maybe like this and not like this. Maybe they wouldn't take the. If I make so let's see if I try to embed this like I think it might not take like these selections into account. Yeah, it's just the same script, and if this is kind of like how it looks, that you cannot even change the change the timeline here, so that's kind of annoying. Okay, let's look at some other stuff. Um, so Russia has quite a lot of gold reserves. 720 billion. So there's been like an increase there. These are not really sure like what do they call this, like there's like foreign currency also, so does that include this one, or is this like something, some totally different thing? Also yeah, the capture cursor should be on. Okay, yeah, the cursor is there, but it's just like it's a little bit like is how much of this is something that can be like seen as like a good progress for Russia? Probably quite a bit. It's like the central bank rate here, the policy rate, and comparison to inflation. This could be pretty nice. I wonder if I should have something about. Should I have? It could be related to like this because it's related to these bond yields. So I could have. Maybe inflation and interest rate. I'm just gonna have that there and yeah, it could also be. I wonder if I should like combine like. I could also have like. I'm not sure if this is like a good way to structure this. is the real GDP. Quarter over quarter and year over year. So let's just have these. I don't know if we want to go into these regional budgets. Okay, maybe go back here. This is also. This should actually be in here. Oops. Why cannot I move it like cut? So I cannot. Why cannot I move this image? I'm just gonna do it like this here. So this is. I wonder what else there is here in the, like, if you look like in other domestic financing, it's been almost 4,000. From December to May. So 2.9 of this is from like these treasury deposits on commercial banks. So basically the treasury, whatever Ministry of Finance, what do you call this, has like held money on here, and now they're withdrawing some of it. They've held money on these commercial banks, and now they're withdrawing some of it to finance the budget. And I wonder, like, how much of this is this a reaction to like maybe it hasn't have time to be a reaction to this, but it like and also like this wasn't, these yields weren't as high, like it doesn't really explain this behavior, like that the yield rates would have gone up, but it could be like some kind of like it could still be like as a precaution to avoid them going up, because they didn't have to issue so many bonds, so maybe that helped them to keep the rates low. But maybe this path is now being like less and less of a possibility, so they have to focus more and more on these domestic bonds, and they're kind of like flooding the market with them, and so there aren't so many, then kind of like the buyers of these bonds then want to have a better price from them because yeah, it's kind of like a supply and demanding. Yeah, I'm kind of like interesting to see where this is gonna head up, because this just like feels like such a big change, like lately, even especially with like the interest rate going down at least like just like 0.25 points. So so let's have for okay, let's just now so maybe the focus here is that this is just like It's like so in early 2026, significant portion. um, yeah, this doesn't really. Yeah, it doesn't increase the debt level, of course, but. Oops. Other non-liquid assets. Yeah, it kind of like has to be that this is. It's 3.4. These are in rubles. Yeah, like this gold and yuan, they sum up to 3.4. So this has been like selling Colt and Juan this decline here. And at some points also purchasing. It's kind of like weird. There's like weird, like to like a big sell here. Maybe this has been to make the I was thinking like to make to look the budget better if you can like I don't really know how. Yeah, I don't know. And then there's I don't know why like here they buy this, but yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, this doesn't really take like inflation into account. I think yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good analysis. I'm also that's like I think I'm biased in many ways, like against Russia, but I still try to keep like if I keep this site kind of like image focused, then like that could be okay. Yeah, this was something about like who owns these OFG bonds or like these domestic bonds. So what's this depository corporations OFT holdings? So does this percentage of total assets, does it mean that it's a percentage of like their assets and not like of like the total OFC value? I think it's the first one. So this would then signify that there's like over 10% of those assets would be these, something like that. So the banks are, or this, what do you call it, depository corporations. So this is basically banks. It's yeah, they are more and more kind of like involved, or they're kind of like risks related to this are now greater. Yeah, so this was something interesting. That oh, yeah, they actually have like a monthly breakdown of this welfare fund and this. So this was quite like a blip here. They did it like from January to March, like they had some of these operations and like these welfare one withdrawals, and then they went like on full focus on this OFGs, and I kind of like wonder like why was there like such a, what was like marking this period specifically. And yeah, what made it change like here on March, April, and how does it have to do with like the oil price is decreasing and some stuff going on? I don't know. So there was some kind of like maybe some budgeted yearly target of like how much of government debt would be from. Or how much of the deficit would be financed by these OFTs. It's like a yearly target. So these, what I understood, are like the central bank is giving money to, like giving like some kind of loans, short-term loans to banks to finance these like buying these loans. It sounds a bit weird, like there's some kind of like so this is now like not quite sure like where it ends. Does it end here? Yeah, I think so. So there's like some 5 trillion rubles of yeah, some kind of money that would have to go back from these big banks to the central banks or something like that. So I could have these over here. So this is kind of like if those banks, I don't know if this increase has already been, yeah, maybe some of this has been that, maybe if those banks, they will have to pay back to the central bank. So does it, yeah, but it is, I think this could be like some kind of indicator of some, I don't know, because it's quite like I don't know, it's just, I don't like exactly like maybe know what this means, but it's just a big jump, so it's interesting because of that. Let's see, because I had a chat about this with Claude. Yeah. Yeah, this some kind of like explanation about this kind of like loop going on with the government and the banks and the central bank. Okay, so no, it's more about like, okay, the bank buys the bonds rather than holding them as investments. The banks pledge many of them to the CBR in exchange. But yeah, maybe, I don't know, many of them back to. Yeah, there's this kind of like thing that. Central banks credit to the government. Yeah, if the central bank gets those bonds as a collateral, it's basically yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if I still like currently like totally understand, especially the risk related to these. Yeah, I think they had oil export earnings. Why did it seem so like 2026? Yeah, they're just expecting it to go so much lower. Yeah, I think these are like maybe this is also like a nice nice picture to show. Could I have this actually? I should have like a as a separate one here. Or actually like this could you could also like consider that these deficit values here they're the result of these actions here, so I don't know which direction I should go, but you could think it also as another way around. Yeah, this is also about should I have like both of these again? But then there's like these are only about the oil revenues, so I kind of wonder if that makes sense to have here. Like, should I have it later on? Like, should I have? Did I had like something about revenues and such? I could change this. Change this a bit, like. If I have like budget deficit here, I could have like revenues and expenditures. I wonder if I need like, do I want to have about? But maybe the point is that I don't think I need this. On export earnings. Like, should I focus on? But there is more about this oil stuff. I could have like there's like some nice in the trading economics. There's some Hello, Kormo Boy Kai. I think this is like a Dobry Dan. Okay. Is this is this like both spam or is this like the only one of those is spam? I think. But yeah, greetings to you as well. I'm gonna block at least this guy. Oh, do you have this cloud on? Okay. Yeah, I think I had left that on. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Like I think like half hour there you were seeing my cloud window. Like even if you should have been seeing this thing here. What happens? Yeah, I'm kind of like annoyed that I couldn't find like how do I get to this. What's the general site for these? But yeah, I'm gonna look at some other Russian things here. I think that okay. If you look at Russia up here, maybe that's the way to find it. Yeah, yeah. This is what I was searching for. So look at some indicators here. So this kind of like some kind of like confidence indicator. Yeah, this was about like how the personal and how do they expect personal like financial situation and the country's financial situation to develop. And then there's been like I don't know what's the good. Yeah, maybe this would be the best like kind of like it has been going worse like in past. Like there's this like worsening trend. So that's what I kind of like want to. I don't think this might. Maybe I don't need to have like a picture here. Index has been going down. So I kind of like want to make. I want to make a story about like if the Russian economy is in a bit of a trouble, it might be likely that, or there's a lot of like indicators that it's not properly, or like there are like a lot of like negative indicators that indicating that it can get worse. Like this is about like what how yeah, this is about like some how the business owners expect their like orders and stuff like that to. expected to version. So and it's the same thing with this services. Index. Like if it's over 50, if the values are over 50, they expect things to get better, and if they're below 50, they expect things to get worse. So I wonder, this might not work because there's a like in here, yeah, here was this capacity utilization, and it's showing kind of like decline. This is kind of like the values. Yeah, maybe it's because it's it might be just that because these are, for some reason, these are like very rounded numbers that they're showing. I don't know, but there's still like quite a big difference. Maybe there's some a bit like difference way to. This again, like this sounds like very much like these like PMI indexes. Indices. Maybe I should look a bit more into what's the definition with those. I could have like I'm wondering like how the should I have some kind of section that's only about these. Morale among manufacturers. Assessments of existing levels on stock and finished products. Change with output expected. Yeah, I wonder if I could have something like from these indices, like something general to say. I think I'm gonna end the stream now. I'm feeling like super hungry. So goodbye.